3 films that I like. That's a hard one. Bladerunner by Ridley Scott. That's sort of noir sci-fi in a dystopian future. Very beautifully shot, so love that. Waking Life by Richard Linklater. An animation, very sort of dreamy and existentialist. In the Mood for Love, Wong Kar-wai. That's always a big favourite as well because it's just beautiful and poetic. So that's the 3. I started out studying architecture and then I switched to economics. And then I did investment banking in London for a while. I remember, this lobby that we were sitting in was completely empty. There was no furniture, no bar, no box office. It was like a desert. The first obstacle was obviously we didn't come from a cinema sort of background, so there was a very, very, very steep learning curve about operations. Thankfully, we have an experienced film programmer on our team which could help with that. So learning, I think, was in all aspects of operating a cinema was a challenge. And the other thing was the location as well. Felt that we wanted to reintroduce an old icon back to the public, but because they had forgotten about it, that meant that we were existing in a blind spot. So even though we're in Golden Mile Tower and that's very central, people are just not aware that there's a cinema here. So we had to be quite smart with the social media and how we were engaging the public with our messaging. What you really need to do is to understand yourself first thing. So it's not just the idea and what you want to do, that's all fine, but more crucially it's understanding yourself and your strengths. And not just your strengths, that's important, but more so your weaknesses. So what you're not good at, and being able to actually own that, the fact that you're not good at these things. Then it's about finding people who are actually good at them, to assemble a team of complementary skills who can work together with you to make it happen. But it's not just any old team, but it has got to be a group of people who share the vision behind it so that you can all work towards creating this project together. I actually don't do anything. I just do something totally different. Something as banal but interesting as walking my dog, or I go to the dance studio. The creative process, I think, doesn't switch off. I mean, consciously you might kind of focus on something else, but the knowledge and the pieces are in there, and I think there's constant simmering going on in the background. And I think you need to sometimes give time for that. Well, firstly, I think you've got to have an interest in it. It's then about identifying, how you'd like to contribute, or the role that you'd like to play, how you'd like to engage in it. Because it's not just the artists or the performers that make up the art scene. And there's a whole host of, behind the scenes and roles that people play, and to enable everything to happen. So it's about identifying your strengths and seeing how you fit in and how you can contribute. I think that's a good starting point, and work your way from there, work hard.